Members of Parliament, support staff, visitors in the Tribune, radio listeners, TV viewers, and all those following this meeting via social media. Members of the media as well, and as far as tuned in to the meeting, good morning and welcome. Blessed good morning to all. Welcome to this Central Committee meeting of today, Thursday, February 29th. And at this time, I wish to give a special welcome to the Honorable Minister of Justice, Minister Anna Richardson. Also present today are support staff of the Minister as well as representative of UNOPS. And I'm sure the Minister will go further and introduce all who are here with her for this meeting. We have established a quorum of 8 members, and so I ask you to please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have received notice of lateness from MP Jacobs, as well as notice of absence from MP Duran. Are there any notifications by members here present this morning at this time? No. And so we go over to the agenda point for today. And that agenda, and that agenda point is an update from the Minister of Justice on the progress of the new prison project. This proposal for an update is registered on the IS 230 of this parliamentary year and is actually dated the 23rd of November of last year. It's on that date that Parliament received email correspondence from the Cabinet of the Minister of Justice requesting a meeting to provide Parliament with an update on the progress of the prison project. We received a follow-up to this letter on February the 14th of this year on the IS 396. The IS number, of course, is important for members of Parliament who wish to review the request as we received it from the Minister. So this can be found on the general theme of Parliament. So today we're having this meeting honoring the request of the Minister to provide an update on the prison project. And so I immediately invite the Minister to take the floor after again welcoming her and the entourage here present for this meeting. Minister Anna Richardson, you have the floor.
Okay. Good morning, Madam Chair Lady, distinguished members of Parliament, support staff, the viewing and listening public, to those who have joined us in the Tribune, and of course, a special good morning to our senior citizens. Today is, in this Central Committee meeting of Parliament, Madam Chair Lady, an important update will be given on the progress regarding the St. Martin Rule of Law facilities, otherwise referred to as the new prison project. Before I continue, I would like to mention the names of the persons who are accompanying my person here today, and they are as follows. Ms. Florence Marlin, our Secretary, Acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Justice. Ms. Tiffany Glasgow is on her way, Policy Advisor within the Minister's Cabinet. Mr. Stephen Carty, our Prison Director. We also have with us Ms. Geertje van Haperen will be joining us as the Legal Policy Advisor, Mr. Uishi Romney as Policy Advisor as well to my person as Minister. Mr. William Gonzalez, he is UNOPS Head of Program. Ms. Elves van Lons, I'm so sorry that I'm messing up your name. Londersele of UNOPS Project Manager, and Mr. Juan Castro Cedras. He is UNOPS Project Support Officers. I'm saying a special good morning and welcome to UNOPS for joining us as well. One of the top priorities when I came into the office, Madam Chair Lady, in March of 2020 was to address the challenges at the prison. The main reason for this was due to the structural condition of the Point Blanche prison and the limited capacity to detain persons, whereby it was concluded that the existing correctional facility infrastructure is no longer fit. As such, since my tenure, a lot of time and energy has been devoted to the prison, with positive results to show. In July 2020, a few months after I took office, I picked up the discussion with the United Nations Office for Project Services, or UNOPS, about the building of a new prison facility. Following my written request to the Dutch State Secretary of the Ministry of Interior and Kingdom Relations, hereby to be referred to hereafter as BZK, at the time to collaborate on this dossier. BZK joined the discussion with UNOPS on how to improve St. Martin's detention facilities in December of 2020. I want to emphasize the excellent cooperation between all stakeholders throughout this process, and not just the Ministry of Justice, UNOPS, and BZK, but also the partners in the justice chain in St. Martin and also within the kingdom. The discussions between St. Martin, UNOPS, and BZK focus on the specific needs of the detention system on St. Martin, the critical aspects of the judicial chain, and the steps that need to be taken to build a new prison. On December 7, 2022, the agreement for phase 1 of the project were signed between the aforementioned parties. Phase 1 of the project, with a duration of 20 months, started in April of 2023 and concerns the design and procurement of a sustainable and effective long-term facility which meets international human rights standards and facilitates reintegration of offenders back into society. Currently, the UNOPS project team is in the design phase and have conceptualized the first draft of the design, which you will hear more about in the presentation. Procurement for the construction of the new facility is scheduled to start in June of this year, 2024. Prior to the start of phase 2 of the project, the agreement for phase 2 must be signed by all parties being St. Martin, the Netherlands, and UNOPS. A requirement for signing and engaging in phase 2 of the project is that the funds are readily available from both financing partners. The investment to the project from St. Martin's side is dependent on approval of the 2024 national budget, with the amount taken up in CAPEX 2024. From the outset of the discussions, my guiding principle has been clear. St. Martin must build a detention facility that we can afford while also meeting all international humanitarian standards. It's about ensuring a safe and humane environment for both inmates and staff. The commitment remains unwavering. With your permission, Madam Chair Lady, and before I go there, I have one other person that I did not acknowledge. Forgive me, Damie Butte. She's supporting us here as well. She's also a part of our team. And so with your permission, Madam Chair Lady, when it is fitting, I'd like to be able to invite Mr. William Gonzalez, the head of UNOPS program, to be able to give the presentation that we have prepared for you today.
Thank you, Minister, for that introduction. And yes, indeed, Mr. Gonzalez, you may proceed. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Minister. Esteemed Member of Parliament, we're working on technical. No. It is my pleasure to stand before you today and be granted this opportunity to provide you with a status update of the progress that has been made on this project since UNOPS was commissioned to support St. Martin with strengthening its justice sector, thus contributing to Sustainable Development Goals number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. I would like to begin by confirming that the project implementation is on track with respect to the initial planning. All planned activities have been successfully completed to the highest standards of quality, achieving significant savings which will be reprogrammed for the construction of the new Point Blanche facility. In October 2023, the prison profile was finalized, based on a 40 years projection of future requirements for detention in St. Martin. This important achievement results from a collaborative effort with contributions from a wide variety of stakeholders, all connected to the wider justice chain. The project is currently in the design phase to be finalized by June 2024. You can witness here the first sketches. The deliverables will meet the highest standards in terms of design for detention facilities, in line with the recommendations from the European Committee for the Prevention of Torture and Inhumane or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, in short, the CPT, the Nelson Mandela rules for the treatment of prisoners, and all relevant international standards for the protection of human rights in line with our mandate as a United Nations agency. All analysis at this stage of the project development are confirming that the construction of a new, fully functional, sustainable, climate-resilient facility in Pointe Blanche is both technically and financially viable with respect to the requirements consolidated in the prison profile and the business case. We have initiated our outreach campaign to service providers both nationally and internationally. Our first workshop that took place on February the 16th witnessed the promising participation of over 15 companies, and our procurement experts are working to secure the participation of the best quality suppliers moving ahead. Looking forward, we will begin procurement activities for the construction of the new facilities in April 2024, with the objective of initiating works in the first quarter of 2025 to achieve fully operational first phase of the new facility by the end of 2026. In order to maintain this timeline, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of the Interior and Kingdom Relations of the Netherlands, and UNOPS are working on an amendment to the current Memorandum of Understanding to be signed following the approval of the St. Martin National Budget 2024. As the United Nations agency with the implementation mandate, we remain committed to support St. Martin in its unwavering effort to strengthen the application of rule of law, providing justice access for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Is there any other part of your presentation or a presentation before I go over to the members of parliament? Okay, so thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, and thank you, Minister. And I now go over to asking if there's any member of parliament who wishes to ask questions, give comments on the topic at hand. I see MP Akin Arundel. MP Arundel, you have the floor.
Sorry, good morning. Sorry.
This is my gun.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Minister. Good morning, support staff, chair lady, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to dive straight into the questions. More or less, I am concerned about the project. Where will the prisoners be during the construction? Where will they be moved? Where all the prisoners will move? Also, what about the current facilities in the meantime, or in the short-term improvement plan for the prison? Meaning if they can get some new, let us say, new facilities inside when they're building the prison, not the same thing, more improvement. Also, what about access to electronic communication for the prisoners? Has that been looked into? Like emails, WhatsApp, entertainment, and also how, excuse me? Sorry. And also, how does this bracelet or the ankle bracelet policy, how does this play during the construction field? Like, what will going to happen to some prisoners? And does this mean the lesser number for the inmates and who need to be household elsewhere? And also, what, sorry? I'm looking here, sorry I was late too. Thought I would be late for this meeting. Chairman, Lady, that'll be all for now, until the next round.
Thank you, MP Arundel. I now give the floor to MP Roseburg. MP Roseburg, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation given by the Ministry and UNOPS. Through you, I have the following question, Madam Chair. In which phase of the project are we currently? I understood that we were in phase 1, but I just wanted that to be confirmed. If we are in phase 1, based on the project board, has it been established already? Based on the articles that I have read, I understood that there will be a prison, the finalization of the prison would be in 2028. Based on the presentation, I understood that we are still on schedule. So can it be confirmed that the finalization will be in 2028? And in connection to the question of MP Arundel, the transitional detention facility, where will that be? And will that facility also be that also humane and resilient accommodation for the prisoners? And how long will they be housed in that transition facility? What will be the new capacity of the prison? Because as we all know, currently it's 80. So what will be the capacity of the new prison? I understood and I've seen online that, and it was also mentioned in the presentation, that there are different projects and that there was a deadline on the 23rd of February for those projects, for companies to also be involved, local and also international companies to be involved in the building of the prison. So I would like to know how much companies have signed up for that market study and how much local companies have signed up. And in the hiring process of those companies, has it also been thought of to create projects that will also give the inmates the opportunity to participate in those projects? And I'm asking that question because I have seen that there's difficulty in creating employment for inmates and ex-inmates, and to find a job is very difficult. So has it also been thought about by UNOPS and the ministry to maybe create employment within those projects so that the inmates can also participate in the building of the prison? And I'm not talking about security-wise or establishing the groundwork, but within the prison there are severe work that needs to be done. So maybe it's an idea to also look into that if that hasn't been done yet, maybe in connection with a local company or an international company on the island, so that the inmates can also learn a trade, which then eventually can ensure that they have a job availability when they will be released and create job options. So I would like to know if that has been thought about as well. I don't know if I asked that, but how much companies have applied for that project, seeing that the deadline was the 23rd of February? Has that deadline been extended or is it final? Who has been involved in the designing of the project? I read that there were different stakeholders involved, but I haven't read in the articles, and you can it can be corrected if I didn't see the information, Madam Chair, but in connection to the Inmates Association, for example, has it been asked what is missing currently in the prison, what the inmates are in need of to feel safe and create a humane prison facilities, seeing that they are the ones that have been incarcerated. So has that market study taken place to involve the Inmates Association? If not, will that also take place? Based on the articles, I have seen that, for example, the prosecutor office and as well the court of first instance and other stakeholders have been involved. But is there a reason why, for example, the Bar Association have not been involved, seeing that they, especially the ones who practice criminal law, are in the prison on a daily basis? So maybe they can also give input. I think that was also mentioned in the report from rechtshandhaving. So if that didn't take place as yet, if the Bar Association on St. Martin can also give input in the design of the prison, and maybe there are certain things missing, for example, a panic button or whatsoever, seeing that we at this moment don't, in the prison, I'm aware that there's no panic button for emergencies. So it's also a question. Then, in connection to Miss Lali Center, the juvenile prison, will UNAPS also have involvement in this Miss Lali Center, seeing that the Miss Lali Center also needs improvement? What is the plan with the Miss Lali Center? Let me see. In connection to the new facility, what kind of workspaces? I saw the first plattegrond. I can't find the translation of plattegrond at this moment, but floor plan. Thank you, MP. I saw the first floor plan, and I was wondering what kind of workspaces will be created. Is there, for example, possibility of agriculture for the inmates? Has it been considered? Also, will there be a psychological department as well? Will there be a department for the young adults? Because at this moment, I believe all the inmates are incarcerated, not based on age level, but based on different areas of neighborhood, seeing the safety. So I was wondering if that will also be considered, that the young adults between 18 and 21 year old will be housed separate from the older detainees. Will there also be a separation in the pretrial detainees and the one that have been sentenced already? So that's a question as well. And the time frame, I don't know if I asked that already, but if I did not, what will be the time frame in which the detainees will be housed in the temporary facility? And in connection to the cells, will it be a single-person cells, two-person cells, or more, or a combination of both? And in the documents, I have seen that it has been mentioned, robust educational facilities. Can that be specified? What is meant with that? Will there be different classroom? Also, in regards to the health facilities, can that also be specified? Will there be a dentist on site, a doctor on site? What kind of health facilities? Also, in connection to recreation, what kind of recreation activities will be available outside gym facilities, just to have that a little more detailed. I believe that those are the questions for now, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Roosburg. I now give the floor to MP Emmanuel. MP Emmanuel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and good morning to you, our Khafir. Good morning to the Honorable Minister, our support staff, the representative from UNAPS, my honorable colleagues, and everyone who is listening and watching in by whichever means. Madam Chair Lady, I am not going to sit here and pretend as if I am in favor of UNAPS doing any prison building in St. Martin whatsoever. In addition to that, Madam Chair, I honestly think that all of this should be put on hold until the new incoming government get an assessment of all what is to be done and what is not to be done. Because my question, Madam Chair, is what is UNAPS bringing to the table? What? Besides expertise. I mean, Madam Chair, when I look right here amongst this congregation, we have engineers, we have builders, we have contractors, we have individuals who can get the job done. So besides expertise, what is UNAPS bringing to the table? Madam Chair Lady, when I dive into the budget and I look at the budget, this one that we have here now for the 2024 budget, Madam Chair, I see that the country of St. Martin, the people's money, the taxpayers' money, we will be putting in something like 34 million guilders into the prison via the capital expenditures budget. That we put in that amount into it, into this project. So then, Madam Chair Lady, if that is the case, what we need UNAPS for? 34 million. 34 million guilders into the prison via the capital expenditures budget. My question is, who will be administrating this money? Who? And what is the use of UNAPS? What is their use? What is their purpose? Because it seems as if we have the money, Madam Chair Lady. So I would like to know exactly, besides their expertise and a nice architectural drawing, what do you bring to the table? What it is that UNAPS is bringing to the table concerning this facility. Madam Chair Lady, I fear again that concerning this project, we go out and we look for all the United Nations this and World Bank this and all those sort of things because it sounds nice. Because these things are international agencies, but then we just need to take a stark look at the airport. And we might just end up as being one like that. In addition to that, Madam Chair, I would like UNAPS to give me a detailed breakdown, what they have done to mitigate their corruption scandal that they have had in 2022. The last time when they was there, they just spoke about they removed the director and they removed this. But I want to know in detail what steps they have taken that this don't happen again. And right now, Madam Chair Lady, based on what is going on in the world, nothing that comes out of the United Nations, one can talk and say, well, they are doing anything good. It's more like united nothing when it comes to what is happening, Madam Chair. I am troubled and disturbed. I don't see nothing coming out of it. Madam Chair Lady, what I see is that St. Martin is spending a ton load of money, and up to this present moment, from all the time that UNAPS comes in here, I still haven't gotten an answer or seen what they bring to the table besides their nice presence here in my country. In addition to that, Madam Chair Lady, I would like to know, Madam Chair, what is the consequences? Because we hear them spoke a while ago, based on this and the Mandela goals and all those sort of things. What is the consequences to the country in particular if our prison is not up to par in the next 5 years? What sort of bad reports can be given to St. Martin? What? And where would it be coming from? Who will be saying? Human rights agencies, United Nations, World Bank, Dutch government, BZK. What? What is the consequences of it? Because, Madam Chair, yes, the prison is bad. Madam Chair, Phillipsburg is bad. Simpson Bay is bad. Lally Center is bad. But, Madam Chair, thus far, everything in this country that the World Bank have their hands on, the IMF, United, everything, I haven't seen nothing positive come out of it as yet. Nothing. So my main question is, what are they bringing to the table, Madam Chair Lady? I would leave it there and come back with a few more questions. I thank you very much.
Members of Parliament, I don't see any other member. Yes, I do see another member of Parliament, and I therefore give the floor to MP Jacobs. MP Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did arrive a bit late, so good morning to one and all. My colleagues, Chair of Parliament Khifir, and of course, the Minister of Justice, my colleague Anna Richardson, and members of the UNOPS and your support staff as well within the Ministry of Justice. While I would like to still receive the presentation myself to see exactly what was stated, having still sitting on the other side, I would like if the minister and/or support can give, whether it was in a presentation or not, I'm not sure, the process that led to us involving the UNOPS in this process to be able to upgrade the prison, exactly the timeline, what is needed, etc. Because I hear colleagues in here asking for a stop to things, but I know that the mandate of this government is to continue, and continuity in government is what allows projects to be finalized. So I heard another MP ask about the status, where we are, what phase, etc. And so besides that, I would like for the general public as well maybe to be reminded as to where did they start, and what steps had to be taken for us to be here, as well as the total cost of the project, not just what is in our budget, but what has also been granted to St. Martin to be able to get this project underway. It is always easy to throw rocks when you don't have all the details. So for me, it is important for the people of St. Martin to have all the information so that they are able to judge where we are with the project and also hold the incoming government accountable to ensure that it gets finalized. Because I know from experience the difficulties that we had to secure the funding to be able to upgrade the prison. And so I look forward to getting that explanation so that the people of St. Martin are aware and that the wool will be removed from their eyes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
MP Roseberg, I see you have another question or so. Is it a follow-up question? Because what I would like to do is, unless it is something related to a previous question, I would then want to give the minister and her team the opportunity to respond to all questions. And then, but if yours has to do with what you mentioned, okay, then go ahead before I turn the floor over to another MP or to the minister. But you may continue.
Thank you, Madam
Roseberg.
Chair. Thank you. Is it correct that the new prison will be located next to the current prison? I just want to have that clarified as well, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Clear? Yes, and the question at least is clear. And then we have MP Lacruz to take the floor. MP Lacruz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and good morning to everyone. Good morning to the viewers. Good morning to the Honorable Minister of Justice, the representatives of UNOPS, and the support staff and the members and everyone else in the Tribune. I have a couple questions, and I must first say that some of the questions that I had, MP Manuel already asked them. Being new to Parliament, not knowing all the details, like MP Silveria mentioned also, maybe makes me green, but the presentation itself was somewhat short, and so if I would definitely like to get a proper presentation with details that a lot of these questions then would be answered in the presentation. That would help a lot. But one of my questions is, what exactly and how exactly St. Martin benefits financially from having UNOPS involved in the whole project? I saw in the presentation that there was something about a saving of 32%. To the bottom, very small written down, it saved from phase 1, but what the total is it 27 million? Is it 34 million? That I'd also like to know. What are the benefits? Because this, as I understood, are from the CapEx. These are funds, these are the taxpayers' money. So the benefits of having actually UNOPS dealing with this whole project. what is the interest rate that the country needs to pay back for this loan, for this project, and what is the total cost. And when I say the total cost, the question is not just the facility, but also the moving of the inmates, everything from A to Z. What is the total cost? Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP La Cruz. Any other member of parliament at this time? No, then Minister, I would ask, will you immediately go into answering the questions by the members of parliament, or do you require a few minutes to consult and come back? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes, should be sufficient, just for your caucus. Okay, so we'll adjourn until 5:56, 5:57. This meeting will now continue after a brief break in order for the minister to assess with her support staff and the representatives of UNOPS the time needed for answering the questions posed by members of parliament. The minister during the break indicated that they would need approximately 30 minutes. And thus, I would therefore now adjourn until 11:30. This meeting will be adjourned until 11:30, giving the minister and her support staff the opportunity to prepare the responses to the questions posed by members of parliament. So with this, meeting adjourned until 11:30. Minister. Minister Richardson, are you ready? Oh, okay. Good morning and welcome back to this meeting of Parliament as we had adjourned to give the Minister of Justice, Minister Anna Richardson, her support staff, as well as the representatives of UNOPS, the opportunity to go over the questions received by members of Parliament and to respond to these. So the parties are now ready with the Minister of Justice to go into the answers, and I invite the Minister to take the floor to do so.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady, and thank you to the members of Parliament for the questions that were posed, and of course the opportunity for us to be able to caucus and bring the answers that we can for these questions. I just wanted, if you're, through you, Madam Chair Lady, and with your permission, the opportunity to just go into or touch on a few of the questions, but a lot of the questions that were asked, UNOPS would like the ability to answer those. So if you grant permission.
Surely.
Yes? Okay,
Yes,
good.
surely, Minister.
I just wanted to touch on the first question from MP Arundel, where he asks what happens to the what happens in terms of short-term improvements of construction. So one of the things that we have been doing as an administration is consistently providing the level of updates that has taken place at the Point Blanche prison. We have shown photos, I do believe, in presentations to Parliament with the involvement. Even MP Roseberg asked about how much inmates are involved in the improvements. We have a inmate facility team, and they're doing a fantastic job with the upgrades and refurbishments that we can do at the prison at this time, because considering that we're about to make a hefty investment in demolishing the existing facility and build a new one, we have to manage what sort of investment is made. But to date, we have made some really great improvements. You know, their living space, the outside space where they play soccer and other recreational. The sewing center has been reactivated. It was not in use after the hurricane. We saw to it that that's back online. We had the whole gymnasium. I saw to it that we bought new equipment. It was gutted out and redone. Even the inmates participated in that. So we've done a lot. The band is back up. I mean, just different things at the facility that has been upgraded to give them there a living space that is manageable until the new facility is built. There's a question about access to electronic communication for the prisoners. Is this being looked into? And when we say electronic communication, I think he made reference to internet. There is a policy, and it is hard pressed that there is no internet access, and that is a policy that's there. So it is firm, yeah, and you have to manage what sort of external communications are available. Ankle bracelet policy is in effect, been in effect. It is used even during this construction phase. It doesn't interrupt the operations. So if someone is eligible for the ankle bracelet, they will be receiving the ankle bracelet. It has nothing to do with the construction project on hand. One of the questions that MP La Cruz asked about is providing details. And MP, what we have discussed is we recognize indeed that this is a new parliament body, and it is only but right, even though I could say Parliament has a lot of history of information we've presented in the past, but we welcome the opportunity for UNOPS and the ministry to return and do a full presentation from commencement of this project until now for the Parliament. This way you will be thoroughly abreast of where this all originated from and all the work that has been done and what the projected timeline looks like. So, Madam Chair Lady, through you, if that is something that the members of Parliament would welcome, then we are definitely delighted to return to do that. Yes? And then what is the interest rate of this loan? So we would have to seek that information from the Ministry of Finance to be able to understand when it comes to the CapEx structure exactly what the details and intricacies of that facility entails. William, can you help me go down? There was another question that I needed to. That was the only questions? Okay. And you know, Madam Chair Lady, through you, I just want to make this one mention before I ask that you give the floor over. You know, this is such a sensitive topic, and when we say something like halt it, how do we communicate that to the men and women that have to live there at that facility, knowing the status of it? How do we communicate that to the men and women that work there, that has to go to that facility knowing the state of it? The country has been taken to court even by the inmates indicating that the facility needs to be improved. There are questions by other MPs asking us what are we doing to be able to facilitate a suitable living. So how do we communicate a statement such as halting it? I think that a lot of great work is being put into it, and as I stated before, we welcome the opportunity to come in and give a presentation, but I really hope that the incoming government would recognize the necessity for continuity and will not support a position of discontinuing or placing a halt on all the progress we've made thus far. So through you, Madam Chair Lady, I'd appreciate the opportunity for UNOPS to delve a little bit further into their answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Anna Richardson. And now is it going to be you, Mr. Gonzalez, to take the lead in the balance of the presentation? Please take the floor.
Through you, Mrs. Chairman, I will now proceed to answering the questions of the esteemed Member of Parliament. Esteemed Member of Parliament, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued interest and engagement with this important project for the future in St. Martin. It is my pleasure to respond today with some elements of answers that, as Minister of Justice Richardson just stated, will be complemented in a subsequent, more technical session. First of all, with regards to the preoccupations of MP Arundel, the implementation will be done through a phased construction, and it will be respectful of ongoing initiatives in St. Martin. We want to ensure that the community is informed about all the upcoming construction phases for the new St. Martin prison. We will proceed with the phased construction, and phase one, that is what we've done. So during the phase one of the construction of the new facilities, which is the design, inmates will remain in the current facilities, which is what is happening at the moment. During the second phase, which will be the construction of the facility, we will proceed by stages of construction. During stage one, inmates will maintain in the current facilities, and then we will move on to a second stage where inmates will be transferred to the new facility as we build the second stage of the facilities. So we will have continuous, seamless operation of the facilities all throughout the process. Regarding the improvements of the current facilities and the short-term results, we understand the importance of maintaining a safe and secure environment while the new facilities are built. All previously planned improvements to the current facilities are being coordinated with the new interventions, and we will seek to maintain them during the construction of the new facilities. With regards to the question of MP Roseberg, the St. Martin Justice Sector project is progressing well. It is currently in phase one, that is design and procurement. We have established a project board since the beginning of the project. It meets regularly on a monthly basis, and it ensures smooth operations and timely decision-making, which has led us to the results that we've presented today. With regards to the construction timelines and scope, stage one of the new prison facility is on track for completion by end of 2026. So by 2026, you will be in operation. The stage two, meaning the second stage of improvements, will be finalized by the end of 2028. The project will now focus solely on the long-term facilities. The transitional facilities are no longer part of the scope. It has been optimized and improved, and inmates will continue in their current short-term improved solution. Regarding to capacity, health, and safety, the new prison will be able to accommodate approximately 200 inmates, which covers the need for the next 40 years of the justice sector, according to the projections that we're managing. We will uphold, of course, the highest health and safety standards all throughout the construction stage to ensure the detention conditions are adequate. but we will also ensure that we meet not only health and safety, but also detention standards in line with the CPT recommendations and Nelson Mandela rules and all others pertinent standards. All the measures are in place to minimize disruptions to prison staff and inmates throughout the process, ensuring environmental and social responsibility. With regards to outreach and stakeholders' involvement, our current outreach campaign has engaged 21 local companies, and we're talking about all types of service providers, not only construction so far, and the campaign is still ongoing. The project will generate significant externalities that will benefit the country. We are developing a construction strategy that will explore potential involvement of inmates in the process. This is not confirmed yet, but we are exploring it. All the relevant stakeholders across the justice chain have been consulted in the program design exercise. This includes, but that's not extensive, the public prosecutor, judicial affairs, the Bar Association, the Court of First Instance. May 2023, the Bar Association was consulted. Social and rehabilitation focus. The UNOPS project scope includes non-infrastructural components such as exploring possible revenue-generating activities for the facility. We are seeking to project this facility towards a sustainable future, and I'm also talking about a financially sustainable future. During the phase 2, there will be a focus on social management activities. We will promote inclusion of the inmates association, the surrounding communities, and all the relevant businesses that will be affected, either positively or negatively, by the construction activities. Additional details. The Pointe Blanche facility will accommodate young adults only, ensuring separation from the main prison population. And by extension, MLC is not part of the current scope. Pre-trial detainees will be housed separately from convicted male inmates. This separation would not be possible for female due to the limited size of this group currently in Pointe Blanche. The new prison will be built on the same site as the current facilities, in phases to avoid the need for temporary accommodation, as we discussed earlier. There will be a combination of single and double occupancy scales, depending on the criticity, let's say, of the detention. The new facility will include 3 classrooms, 6 workshops to support educational and vocational programs. We, of course, welcome continued community support and engagement all throughout the project. With regards to the questions of MP Christopher Emmanuel, the UNOPS is the United Nations Office for Project Services. We are a project management implementation support agency. We do not have a programmatic mandate, and we are not a construction company. We support government in implementing their capital in challenging projects. What we bring are the highest international standards in our operations while respecting local context and try to foster national growth. We do this as our contribution to tackling the significant challenges of the world today. Our current portfolio globally is of $29.6 billion across the world. We work with over 800 partners. We manage a portfolio of over $6.5 billion in procurement projects. We manage a portfolio of over $2 billion in project management, and we manage a portfolio of over $2 billion in infrastructure. It is true that in 2022, UNOPS has gone through a crisis. In February 2023, the UNOPS Executive Board opted to discontinue the Sustainable Investments in Infrastructure and Innovation, known as S3I initiative, due to management failures. Subsequently, a response plan was initiated under the board's guidance, encompassing strategic and administrative reforms, including a complete reset of the organizational strategy. This 10-point action plan is under the very detailed scrutiny of our board, of which the Kingdom of Netherlands was formerly president and remains member and observer. With regards to the preoccupation of MP Lacruz, all the elements regarding the more specific details that were requested, as it was mentioned by the ministry, are going to be provided in a subsequent stage. We thank you for your patience as we, let's say, onboard you in getting the project information. With regards to financial figures, we are currently conducting public procurement activities. To ensure a fair and transparent bidding process, we cannot, unfortunately, disclose specific costs at this stage, at least not in public, as it could potentially disadvantage certain bidders. We understand your interest, and we regret any inconvenience at this stage that this may cause. Please be aware that all these figures will be made public once the procurement processes are over. I thank you very much, esteemed Member of Parliament, for your questions and for your continued interest in our contribution and support to St. Martin.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. And this now will take us to the opportunity for members of Parliament, all of you, to ask either follow-up questions or additional questions. I have noted that MP Christophe Emmanuel has already indicated his desire to do so. MP Emmanuel?
Madam Chair Lady, thank you very much. And let me thank Mr. Gonzalez and the Honorable Prime Minister for their answers. However, excuse me? I said Prime Minister? The Honorable didn't I say Honorable Minister? Well, thanks for the correction. But Madam Chair, I am not convinced. And here's my reasons why. As much as other members of Parliament can talk about pulling the wool over people's, I don't even know what that means. It just doesn't make much sense, really. But Madam Chair Lady, let me pull up the information. In 2023, and I heard Mr. Gonzalez made mention of it through you, Madam Chair, of the mitigating factors and the 10 points that they have taken to curb the corruption from with UNOPS. But Madam Chair Lady, that's why I said I have a report. In 2023, the 17th of February, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs, Michael McCall from the United States, the chairman sent a letter to the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres, expressing strong concerns over the United Nations response to gross financial mismanagement at the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS. Despite repeated requests by the United States to review the UN's internal investigation report, the United Nations Office of Internal Oversight Services has denied such access, which raises significant doubt about the UN's commitment to transparency and accountability, while also inhibiting U.S. efforts to ensure sufficient reforms are implemented. Madam Chair, it goes on to say, the results of the independent reviews that Mr. Gonzalez is talking about of UNOPS, internal controls and governance conducted by KPMG made clear that the agency requires extensive reforms at all levels. It is to continue operating at all, wrote the chairman. The reviews reveal systemic dysfunction at UNOPS, including abuse of power by management, failure to adhere to whistleblowers' procedures, risky investment practices, brazen deviation from the agency's mandate, and weak audit and ethics foundation. All these failures contributed to a culture of fear and impunity at UNOPS. KPMG's report states that, considering the sufficient organizational turmoil resulting from actions taken under S31, there is need for a board review of management priorities as well as overall strategic direction and mandate of UNOPS. Given these troubling findings, it is critical that the UN provide full transparency regarding the result of its own internal investigation of UNOPS to ensure that underlying causes such as failures are fully understood and address. These are not my words, Madam Chair Lady. This is the Foreign Affairs Director Chairman of the House of the United States is asking these questions concerning what is going on with UNOPS. Here in St. Martin, lock, stock, and barrel, we accepting it and swallowing it because he comes and he say a 10-point plan has been taking place, and all of a sudden now, they are good, their pleats is white as snow, and they are good. And they're pulling wool overhead or whatever nonsense that was supposed to be. They are saying there are still issues there. This is a report from 2023, last year, Madam Chair Lady. So I'm asking through you to the Honorable Minister, are you aware of this report? Can the good gentleman, Mr. Gonzalez, give us any answers? Did the Americans receive answers from the United Nations or from UNOPS concerning this report, Madam Chair Lady? It's over $60 million that they have given out to questionable businesses. Madam Chair, I can go on and on and on, but the information is there. You can Google it, you can bring it up. The information is there, Madam Chair. And then the question is, not to put on a halt, because what can happen to those who are there, but what are they doing right now? The prison ain't built. It's still in the same way. Where are they going right now? Where are they working right now? What is happening to them right now? They're still there in the same thing. So it's not going to be done now anyway. What we are saying is the incoming minister and the incoming government should have a look at what all is being done first. That's what we are saying. So now we're saying, we're not saying put a halt on it forever. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. Of course, we understand government is continuity. We understand that. But what if there's something better? What I'm saying, Madam Chair Lady, is, again, I would like to know if the Honorable Minister or everyone who is sitting there, if they are aware of this, or if they're aware of this report. I would also like to know from the good gentleman, did Mr. McCall receive the answers concerning his serious concerns when it comes to transparency and everything else regarding and dealing with UNOPS? I thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Christophe Emmanuel. The next speaker, the next MP to speak is MP Grisha Heiliger Martin. MP Heiliger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Good morning to you. Good morning to our Secretary General. Good morning to the Minister of Justice, Ms. Anna Richardson, and her support staff. And good morning to the representatives of, it's afternoon? Oh, it's afternoon. Well, good afternoon to everyone and those listening and viewing online, and to my fellow MPs. Madam Chair Lady, through you, I'd like to ask the Minister a few questions regarding, I just heard Mr. Gonzalez stated through you, Madam Chair Lady, that the pretrial detention will not include women. And I would like to know then what provisioning is made then for the women, how many rooms or how many cells will be allotted to the women facilities, and also with regard to the education program. It was also something I wanted to ask during my last meeting with the Inmates Association last year. Many of the inmates are not taking the GED program because in their mind they're saying, okay, I'm gonna have a negative code of conduct anyway, so why do the course and then no one's gonna hire me? What is UNOPS, or maybe with assistance of UNOPS, what is being done to curtail that? Is there a transition phase for the inmates, or is that going to be in place that they can go into society, work with a GED, with assistance from the prison, or whatever program? Is there going to be like a post-facilitation for those trying to find work with their new certificate? GED certificate or any certificate that they may have after. Also, I heard Mr. Gonzalez, through you, Madam Chair Lady, stated that they're going to be following the standards of the Nelson Mandela rules and the CPT recommendations. Are any European standards also going to be taken into consideration? If so, what type of European standards are you going to be following or taking into consideration during the rebuilding of the prison? And lastly, I heard through the minister that the sewing center is operational. I heard last year there was no instructor. So is the Minister of Justice now saying through you, Madam Chair Lady, that there's an instructor in place? And if yes, is it fully operational? And how many inmates are currently registered with the sewing program? Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Heiliger Martin. Next on the speakers list is MP Roseburg. MP Roseburg, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I would like to thank the Ministry of Justice as well as UNOPS for the answers on my questions. I was typing very fast, but I didn't get everything as yet. So through you, I would like to ask if the answers can be emailed or that I can receive it and review those answers. So I would like to know if that's possible through you, if it can be received.
MP Roseburg, if I understand what you're asking, you haven't been able to formulate your questions yet?
No, I
You have
been,
them.
I have my questions, but
Okay.
the reaction or the answers that I have received from the ministry
Right.
and from UNOPS through you, I was typing, but
Okay.
I couldn't, it was going very fast, so
Okay.
I would like to receive those answers
Or the
in
answers
writing.
already
Yes.
provided, if they can be given
Yes,
in
the reaction
writing.
to my answers. If those can be provided in writing. Other than that, I have additional questions. The transitional facility is not clear in the documents that were provided online and that I read. There's being spoke of a transitional detention facility. Is it so that transitional detention facility is the current Point Blanche prison? Because based on what I just understood, it was mentioned that at no point the inmates will leave from the current Point Blanche facility to a other facility and after that to the new facility. So if that can be clarified, if that's correct, if I understood that correctly. Other than that, to add to the question of MP Drisha Heiliger Martin, I understood in connection to the sewing facility that there is an instructor, but that the fabric was not there. And that's why the sewing classes are not taking place. So is that currently still the case, or are the inmates at this moment receiving sewing class? And what about other classes? Are there other classes available, such as carpentry? And what are the classes available for the female inmates? Because according to what I have known, the female inmates cannot participate in the sewing classes. So through you, Madam Chair, I would like to know if there's a change to that, and what will be the temporary classes available until the construction has been finalized in the current Point Blanche facility. Other than that, in connection to the question that I asked regards to the psychological and psychiatry department, I haven't got an answer to that, on that, if there will be a department such as what I have mentioned in my question available in the new prison. And also in regards to the health facilities, what kind of health facilities will there be in place? Will there be on-site medical professionals, such as doctors and dentists, or, as in the prison in Bonaire? And about the facilities, I know that there has been an update on the current Point Blanche facility in regards to the gym, but what will be happening in the new prison? Will there be a gym facility, indoor, outdoor, if the clarification in connection to that can also take place through you, Madam Chair? And it wasn't clear what will happen with the Miss Lally Center. I didn't get that question. I don't know if it was answered. I know something was said about the Miss Lally Center, but it wasn't clear. I can't recall what was mentioned. Will there be renovations also with the Miss Lally Center? And I think that will be my question for now. Yes. I thank you.
Thank you, MP Roseberg. So just to repeat your request that the questions or the answers provided before, if those can be sent in writing. I see the minister nodding in approval, so I will understand that to be that that can happen and will happen. And so thank you for the additional questions as I then turn the floor over to MP La Cruz.
Madam Chair Lady, thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. First, I'd like to thank, through you, Madam Chair Lady, the Minister of Justice for actually acknowledging that we are green and we would like that and be open to coming and giving a whole explanation and presentation of the whole project to us. But there were a couple questions that I am a little confused about that I think could have been answered. And one was the financially, the help from UNOPS. You know, so I'm going to turn it a little and ask it in this manner: what does it actually cost the country to have UNOPS on board? And that is a question that I think can be answered. Another question that I thought about after was actually the tender that is coming out in the second quarter. Will this be open to foreign companies? Or is this only local companies that will have the opportunity to bid on these tenders? And the question that I asked concerning the savings of 30% that was in your presentation, I think that you said that we were saved already, 32%, but saved from what? And how did that saving come about? Because like that, if I understand that, then I can say, okay, you know, this is one of the benefits of having UNOPS on board, because right now I'm not seeing it, and I'd like to understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, MP La Cruz. I don't see any other speaker at this time from my left, so I look to the minister. Minister One, can you go into the answers now? We do have someone else. We have MP, that would be MP Mingret. MP Mingret, before I continue to ask the minister about the necessary time, I allow you to pose your questions or give your comments. MP Mingret.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon to the Honorable Minister of Justice and our support staff. I have a couple questions to ask the Minister of Justice. And just to add, what measures are in place to prevent overcrowding and ensure the safety of both inmates and staff? What specific safety measures were incorporated into the design and construction of the new prison facility? Are there provisions for natural disasters resilience and mitigation incorporated into the reconstructed prison infrastructure? And last, has there been any other investment in rehabilitation programs or initiatives alongside the reconstruction? That's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Mingret. And we have one more question from MP Heiliger. MP Heiliger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Just one question in general. Does the prison comply with the LB containing general measures establishing the prison measures? Yes or no? So does the prison comply with the LB that is containing general measures establishing prison measures?
Thank you, MP Grusha Heiliger Martin. Members of Parliament, is that it for right now, so that I can go over to the minister, which I will do, and ask the minister how she proposes that we get the answers to the questions just posed and the follow-up items mentioned. Minister?
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and to the members of Parliament who have posed questions. We will need some time to be able to discuss these. How much time is necessary? I would need to ask the team, so I don't know if you want to
So allow me
tell us?
then, yes, allow me then, Minister, to give you, let's say, 5 minutes to have that caucus with the team about what within what time frame you can respond to the
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you.
So we will adjourn for 5 minutes until about 12:25. So we resume the meeting after having given the minister the opportunity to caucus and give us an indication as to when the answers can be provided, and that can happen in the next 5 to 7 minutes. Hence, we will adjourn for that time once again, and at about 12:35, give or take a minute or two, we should be back with the answers. So until that time, we adjourn the meeting again. Meeting adjourned. Members of Parliament, all tuned in to this meeting, Minister and support staff, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for your patience, Members of Parliament, as the Minister and her support staff attempted to respond to hopefully all of the questions posed earlier. So with this opening, I immediately turn the floor over to, I guess, Mr. Gonzalez, who is, no, the Minister is going to take the floor first, and then we will get the responses to the questions. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady, and to the members of Parliament for the follow-up questions. I'll commence with the questions that MP Heiliger Martin posed, and it went into the education program. MP Heiliger indicated that many inmates are not taking the GED courses because they are not going to be hired. They're not going to hire me, quote unquote. She was indicating communication with inmates. I just want to start off by first mentioning that when I have inquired about this, the actuality is that currently there are 25 inmates that are currently enrolled in the GED program. 17 of those are at Harvey Bay, and 8 out of the 9 at MLC are participating in the GED program. As a matter of fact, there is at least one individual who is coming up for release within the next 6 months, before that, but he has 6 months remaining in the GED program and has requested if he can remain in the facility to complete the program whilst he's in there. So, and then as far as, those who may express that they don't see the purpose for engaging in the GED program if they're not going to be hired, and that, that requires counseling, it requires encouragement. That's a whole different discussion versus the impression that many are not taking. The maximum that can do for now is 25, and there are more who are expressing interest who want to participate. But of course, we would have to leave this first set complete and then engage with the next. And yes, we have a job to do as a ministry, but we also have to engage in the support of our social services as well as our education ministry, counseling sessions to be able to engage. And then we currently have someone who has even submitted a proposal that wants to encourage individuals within our prison facility about entrepreneurship. So yes, it may be difficult to secure yourself a job, but with the support of being guided about entrepreneurship, financial management, and these, one would be encouraged to consider establishing businesses for themselves or that they would own. So we are exploring all of these. And there's a question as, will it be a part of the transition phase, or is there a development for a transition phase before returning to society? Yes, that's a part of the rehabilitation. Even churches are visiting the prison facility and being counselors and support to our inmate population to help them in the process of returning to society. So a lot of effort is done. There's no limit to it because everyone's circumstances are different. So we are exploring different ways to be able to support our inmate population in preparing them to return to society. The Sewing Center. MP Roseberg brought the clarification herself to the MP because the instructor is there. He never left. I checked with the director of the prison, Mr. Carty, here next to me, and he indicated that there is fabric at the facility, Madam Chair Lady, through you, but it is old fabric. So that fabric is being used as part of their training. There is fabric on order. They're just waiting for the payment to be processed, I believe is the stage that the advice is on. Yes, he's shaking his head. That is correct. And new fabric will be purchased that could be then made into the necessary clothing for distribution. However, the old fabric that had been in the facility is what is being used to train the inmates. Does the I'm waiting for the answer from our legal in terms of the non-specific general measures establishing prison measures. I'm waiting for our legal to provide confirmation on that one. If I may move on to questions from MP Roseberg through you, Madam Chair Lady. Can answers already be given in, and yes, so we're going to share those answers to you. And then the sewing facility, I just touched on that in terms of confirming that it is old fabric that is being used to help train the inmates and new fabric on the way. As far as the females are concerned, sewing machines have been purchased and they are on their way. That will be placed over into the female section because MP Roseberg, you're familiar with the facility in terms of how it's structured. You would have to go through the male area of, and so to be able to circumvent that, sewing machines have been purchased for the ladies and will be placed in their area. And when it comes to MP Christopher Emmanuel's question posed to both my person as minister at the ministry and also seeking response from UNOPS in terms of their commitment. I remember this question had been posed before by the MP, and I did provide a number of measures that UNOPS has put in place to be able to address the concerns where that specific incident took place. As a matter of fact, if I can recall correctly, UNOPS also indicated that there are different sectors of UNOPS structure that this incident does not affect the support and service as a procurement institution for the Ministry of Justice, for St. Martin in this capacity. It is two separate structures, but I will allow UNOPS to be able to give more insight about that. And once again, we are willing to return to be able to give a thorough presentation on where this all commenced and where we are. So through you, Madam Chair Lady, if you would permit, I'd like to turn it over for UNOPS to give the remainder. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And through you, Chair Lady, I will proceed to answer to the questions of the honourable members of the Parliament. Once again. Now, once again, thank you very much for your questions and your continued engagement. We will seek to provide as much clarity as we can as part of the collaborative effort to make this project a success for St. Martin. With regards to the preoccupations of MP Christophe Emmanuel, well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your question. We appreciate your concerns and your diligence in ensuring that public funds are secured, transparently and efficiently managed. As I indicated, the organization is going through an important reform subsequent to the STI, and I can assure you that all mechanisms have been implemented to ensure that St. Martin is not affected by the failures that the organization may have known in the past. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind us that this agreement, not only was it signed after the STI, and thus learning from the mistakes of the past, but that in 2022, as part of the initial discussions with St. Martin and BZK, due diligence was performed by the government of St. Martin and the government of the Netherlands prior to any signing of this agreement, and specific transparency measures were designed, among which, for example, the establishment of a robust governance structure that, to this day, has proven efficient. I will also take this opportunity to remind that the course of action of UNOPS with regards to addressing the STI, as you rightfully mentioned, UNOPS presents its action points and its response plans to its executive board. The first session was held in November 2022. As you rightfully mentioned, the second session was effectively conducted in February 2023. And then subsequent sessions were held in June 2023. And the last one was held in January 29th, 2024. I am pleased to share with you that based on the 49 KPMG recommendations and the identified 82 UNOPS actions, at this stage, we have completed 90% of them, and the remaining 10% are in progress and will be completed during 2024 to ensure that UNOPS is better equipped to support its partners and the needs of the government. I just want to highlight that trust from the government of the United States is not my place to comment, and therefore I will not delve into details. With regards to the preoccupations of MP Heiliger Martin, with respect to pretrial and convicted female inmates will share a ward with a capacity for approximately 12 inmates. As per international standards, no inmates should be isolated during long periods of time. We ensure compliance with the standards by not separating the pretrial female inmates from convicted female inmates. If we were to separate the pretrial and the convicted, we would be performing isolation of these two groups in breach of international standards. With regards to the application of the standards Nelson Mandela rules and CPT and the application of European standards, let me clarify that the CPT standards are actually European standards, so by design we are in line with European standards, but furthermore you will know, may be pleased to know that the design in terms of structural terms and infrastructure are actually compliant with the St. Martin Building Code, which is itself designed based on the Euro codes, which are European standards. With regards to the preoccupations of MP Roseberg and the transitional facility, so there was a preoccupation with regards to what is the nature of the transitional stage, let's put it that way. The inmates will not leave to any other off-site facility, so they will remain in their current facility until capacity is established to accommodate them in the new facility. The transitional facilities approach has been descoped, and the staged construction of the long-term facilities allows us to eliminate any need for any investment in transitional facility or any movement associated with moving people around any potential detention alternate solutions. With regard to psychological and psychiatric care, yes, a basic forensic care unit is included in the design, so there will be capacity to attend this matter at a basic level. Health facilities, they will include a waiting room, a consultation room, an inpatient room, a nurse room, storage for all sorts of medical inputs, social workers' office, interview and examination rooms, dentist consultation, interview and examination rooms for mental health care, as well as an observation cell and medical treatment rooms. All of these requirements are based off the standards that we will apply and are designed to meet the capacity that we foresee for this infrastructure. Will there be a gym facility? Well-being of the inmates is, of course, at the heart of our concern, and gym facilities are included in infrastructure design, as well as an outdoor sports court. So these needs should be met considering the future design. Addressing the concerns of MP La Cruz. First of all, thank you very much for specifying your concerns in very specific points that I will now try to address, and of course this will be completed by all the information that we will provide in subsequent stages. With regards to the very direct question of what does it cost for a country to have UNOPS on board? To respond very directly to your question, at the present moment, it doesn't cost anything to St. Martin for having UNOPS on board. The first phase of the project is financed through cooperation by BSZK and through the Netherlands. So at this stage, it doesn't cost zero to St. Martin. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight and clarify that UNOPS is a non-for-profit organization. It does not generate revenue, and it operates solely on a cost recovery model. So the cost of UNOPS implementation support is dictated only by the complexity of the project and the teams that we mobilize for the project management, only. So basically, if there is a complex project, we mobilize personnel and we just pay for this personnel that you need to implement this project, and we pull them out once they're not needed. So it's solely cost recovery. With regards to the procurement activities during Q2, all the procurement processes, and especially the big ones, will be open to both local and international suppliers for the sake of achieving a proper market size. Nevertheless, specific clauses will be built in the contract modality to promote the involvement and development of local businesses. With regards to maybe evidentiating or detailing what entailed the saving of 32%. Phase 1, and this I can disclose, Phase 1 had a specific budget for a series of activities that included design and procurement of the construction. It was approximately $4 million for the first phase. For this first phase, we have accomplished approximately 32% saving, which is an equivalent of $1.3 million in activities. These savings came mostly from our optimization of the design and the implementation approach, which allowed us to confirm that it was feasible to continue operations in the current facilities while the new facility is being built. We are also working actively into an optimization of the design structure without never compromising quality and effective procurement to make sure that we're actually achieving more savings. All of these savings will be re-injected to finance the second phase, and thus diminishing the contribution that St. Martin will have to make through its own budget for financing these activities. And maybe I'll take this opportunity to clarify that any other cost optimization that will be performed in the future stages will be reintegrated through the project or being returned to you. Finally, with regards to the preoccupation of MP Maingrad, overcrowding. So the new capacity was established based on a 40-year projection of the needs. This includes regional crime trends, global observatories, general practices. This will ensure that the prison capacity is sufficient for the intended lifespan of the new facility and avoid any overcrowding, which was actually the main concern that generated our intervention. With regards to specific safety measures in the design and provision for national disasters, we are aware of the conditions in which St. Martin operates, and especially the climatic conditions. The national building regulations are adhered in the new facility, and we're working very closely with the Ministry of Romy. And all local conditions, including but not limited to high wind speeds, hurricane, rainfalls, subsoil conditions, are taken into account in order to deliver a sustainable but climate resilient new facility. All our consultations are held in continuous conversation with Ministry of Romy, the fire departments, and thus we're ensuring full compliance and their support all throughout the design stages to be continued during the implementation. I think I have answered all of the questions. Thank you very much, esteemed Member of Parliament.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Have the questions been answered sufficiently in the opinion of the members of Parliament? Anyone wishes to ask for something to be clarified or otherwise? I do see that we have, let me see, we have MP Roosberg. MP Roosberg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Minister of Justice and UNOPS for the clarification. The question that I have is related to the transitional phase again. Seeing that it now has been confirmed that there will be no transitional facility, so the documents that I read are outdated or has been changed, a change of plans, but seeing that in those documents it has been acknowledged by UNOPS that the current facility is in an inhumane state, my question is how UNOPS will tackle the inhumane state of the current prison in the short-term stage until the new prison will be built, completed. And because seeing that the reason of the transitional facility was focused on tackling that inhumane state. So seeing that there will be no other facility, what will be done from UNOP's side to ensure that in the 2 to 4 years, the inhumane state will be tackled, and that it will be ensured that also in the 2 to 4 years, the current prison, as much as possible, will meet a few, if not all, requirements of the Nelson Mandela rule. I know it's maybe a lot to ask, but what can be done in that short-term period?
Thank you, MP Roosberg. Any other member wishes to add a point of clarification to the Minister and the UNOPS team? I see MP Roosberg have something to add.
And also to add, Madam Chair, just to clarify that also those answers that have been provided through you, to receive those on paper.
Yes.
And yeah,
That has
all
been-
all the answers also from my colleague MP, so that we can review it in case they object, but I don't think so.
Thank you, MP Roseberg, Minister, and I now turn the floor over to your team.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Apologies to MP Roseberg that the plan going forward in terms of that interim facility, so to speak. We don't call it an interim facility anymore because, and I do believe that William made mention about the savings there, because we're not doing a separate facility, but there's actually, based on the layout, which we're trying to get on the screen, we want to be able to show how sections of that facility that will be the facility itself, a portion of it is going to be built. The inmates will be moved to that portion because there's a lot of land that is adjacent to the existing facility as it is now. And I wrote to the Ministry of Romy and sought approval for us to be able to have that now updated to the made brief of the land space that the current facility holds. So because of that extra land space, now we're able to kind of expand the facility. We're going to build that first unit. They're trying to get it on the screen so we could see it. And then we move the inmates over to that one, right? And then demolish the existing facility and continue to build the new facility. So there's no temporary, so to speak, but the expansion of the facility, this one is a part of it. Yeah? I hope that's clear. I realize we were not making that as clear as we would have liked to. Are we going? Oh, they're trying to bring the image up. If you would give the opportunity, Madam Chair Lady.
Okay, so we wait a minute or two. You're ready to go, Mr. Gonzalez, with providing that information. So you have the floor, and we probably will see it on the screen.
Is that for us to do from the court, or is it technical?
No, you would not be able to do it from there, and I don't know how convenient it would be right now at this moment for us to do it. I'm looking at...
Not available, sorry.
No, okay, yes. So I figured, yeah, plugging it in at this time might have been a challenge.
Sorry.
So the MP Roseberg, was the answer given, did that clarify somewhat more than before? If
But yes, it did. Yes,
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair. If we also could get the presentation, then I can look at it myself. And if I have other questions, and
Surely.
maybe if that can be provided, then I can address those questions.
surely, I'm sure the minister would not mind. Usually that is the case with providing the members of parliament with the presentation, and in this case, I'm sure with that request that would be possible. I see the minister. Minister, you wanted to add something, or you're confirming
Yes,
the
I'm confirming
presentation?
that.
Okay,
But
great.
if possible, I have some final statements.
Sure, then I would invite you to do so now, Minister.
Okay, thank you so
Yes.
very much. So, Madam Chair Lady, just want to express to your person and through you as well to the members of Parliament for this very productive meeting, I believe. We look forward to the opportunity, as I did mention before, because this is a very important development for St. Martin. The facility needs to be demolished and a new one built, so the continuity is very important, so we look forward to the presentation. I do encourage if Parliament can provide members of Parliament with those documents and presentations we have presented in the past from the commencement of this journey. That would be helpful. But I just want to express my appreciation to UNOPS as well for being here with us and for all that they have been contributing thus far to this project, as well as to my support staff, Director Uishi, SG, Dami, Tiffany and everyone who is a part of this project, whether they're here with us or not. Of course, to my staff, the staff at Harvey Bay, for holding on with us and giving the support that we need, and to the Justice Ministry entirely. Yes, thank you to everyone for all that they are doing. We really appreciate you, and we will continue to push forward to make the improvements that are necessary. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, Minister, for those concluding remarks. And to the members of Parliament, I want to thank you for your participation in this meeting and for the interaction. Our thanks goes to the Minister and her support staff, to the representatives of UNOPS, and all who have been tuned into this very important topic this morning on the construction of a new prison on St. Martin. Thank all of you and have a wonderful afternoon. Meeting closed.